you need to be careful. One wrong word in the next 24 hours, and you could delay the very thing you've been wishing for. Silence is your lifeline right now. The next 24 hours aren't normal. They're charged, accelerated, and every word you speak lands harder than you think. Right now, the universe is listening more closely than usual, and if you're spiritually attuned, you need to be extra cautious, because this will affect you on another level. Your future is already watching this moment. Don't disappoint it. There's a version of you that already made it, already crossed the finish line, already stepped into the life you're trying to manifest right now, and that version of you is reaching back, trying to guide you through this exact 24-hour window. Your silence isn't random, it's a signal, a message from the part of you that has already seen what happens when you speak too soon, defend yourself unnecessarily, or reveal your plans to the wrong audience. The future you knows that one careless conversation right now could shift the entire timeline you're walking toward. Stay quiet in this window, and you lock onto the outcome that was designed for you. Speak impulsively, and you slow down everything that this future version of you worked so hard to build. So before you open your mouth, ask yourself why this warning reached you today of all days. And pay attention, because the next part of this message isn't just a warning. It's the real reason you were guided here. The universe doesn't deliver to loud houses. There is something heading toward you right now, something with your name on it, but it can only land where there is stillness. This is one of those rare moments where the universe is lining up a blessing that requires precision, not effort, not explanation, just stillness. Because when your energy is noisy, rushed, or emotionally scattered, it becomes impossible for anything delicate to reach you. Think of this blessing like a bird trying to land on your hand. If you move too fast, talk too much, or react out of impulse, it doesn't hate you, it doesn't disappear. It just flies past and waits for a calmer moment. The universe works the same way. Some gifts aren't delayed, they're simply waiting for you to stop shaking the table. This isn't punishment, it's coordination. You're not being forced into silence, you're being positioned for reception. Right now, your life is being arranged with a kind of precision that doesn't tolerate unnecessary chatter. Anything said from emotion, ego, or anxiety becomes interference. If you stay quiet, even if it feels uncomfortable, you open the door for something that's been trying to reach you for weeks. And what's coming next isn't small, which is exactly why the universe is demanding calm before it arrives. Something is approaching your reality, and it needs a clear landing zone. Explaining yourself right now is a trap designed to pull you back into a version of you that no longer exists. Chosen ones have a pattern. The moment things shift, the moment their energy changes, the moment they grow, they feel the urge to explain themselves. Explain why they're quiet. Explain why they're done. Explain why they're different. But right now, that urge is one of the most dangerous traps you could fall into. When you explain yourself, you reopen old doors that were meant to stay closed. You invite people back into chapters they were removed from. You lower your frequency to match conversations that no longer belong to the person you're becoming. Over-explaining is not communication, it's self-betrayal. In these next 24 hours, every explanation costs something. It drains your spiritual energy. It pulls you back into patterns that you've already outgrown. And it gives people access to your inner world at a time when the universe is clearly telling you to protect it. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your evolution. And right now, explaining your silence only anchors you to timelines you're meant to leave behind. The less you explain, the more you evolve. And the more you evolve, the more the right things and the right people start moving toward you without you saying a single word. There are people who pretend to listen just to steal your inner clarity. One of the biggest reasons you're being guided into silence right now is because not everyone around you deserves access to your thoughts. There are people who don't want your truth, they want your energy. They want the spark behind your words, the insight behind your decisions, the momentum you've been building. And the moment you speak, they pull pieces of that clarity out of you without ever giving anything back. These people don't respond to understand. They respond to redirect you. They might look harmless. They might even act supportive. But spiritually, they function like drains, not fountains. When you share your inner world with them, they don't carry your words with care. They twist them, stretch them, or absorb them in ways that leave you feeling scattered. And the danger right now is that you're in a delicate phase where your direction can be influenced by the slightest external input. One wrong conversation, one misplaced confession, one moment of emotional vulnerability with the wrong ear, and suddenly, your whole path feels foggy. This is why silence is being demanded from you, not suggested. Speaking in this window does more than interrupt your peace. It rearranges your intuition. It shifts your focus away from what matters and onto things that were never meant to influence you in the first place. The people who pretend to listen are often the same ones who walk away, carrying pieces of your mental clarity. They leave you doubting yourself, rethinking choices you were already sure about, or apologizing for boundaries that were valid from the start. Not everyone who asks how you're doing is rooting for the answer. And right now, your clarity needs to stay with you. Your spiritual fire is meant to burn internally, not be handed out like free heat to people who never bring their own warmth. This 24-hour silence is like armor. It keeps your mind, your decisions, your intuition protected from interference. Because the truth is, the less people know, the less power they have to distort what's already forming for you. Spiritually attuned souls always feel the tremor before the breakthrough. It's that strange inner pressure, that sense that something is rearranging behind the scenes, even if nothing has physically changed yet. And that's exactly why this silence matters right now. You're standing at the edge of a turning point you haven't fully recognized, a door that's about to open, an event that's about to unfold, a clarity that's about to land, and you are not supposed to interfere with it by talking prematurely. Think of this moment like the quiet before a major shift in a story. You might not see the plot twist yet, but the energy is already building. The universe is lining things up, clearing the path, aligning people and opportunities, and preparing you for something you're finally ready to receive. But that kind of alignment is delicate. It needs silence. It needs your inner world to stay undisturbed. If you speak too soon, if you reveal your plans, your feelings, or your next moves, you risk influencing the outcome in ways that slow it down or shift it off course. This is a high-stakes moment precisely because you can't see it yet. There's a blessing, a realization, or a decision approaching you that will make complete sense when it arrives, but only if you stay out of the way right now. You're not meant to shape it with your words. You're meant to let it find you. Talking could alter your emotional state, confuse your intuition, or pull you into distractions that block the very thing trying to reach you. Every major turning point in a chosen one's life begins in silence. That isn't just poetic, it's spiritual mechanics. Before every leap, every upgrade, every shift in destiny, There is always a moment where the universe pulls you inward, quiets your surroundings, and asks you to listen with your spirit instead of your mouth. That's where you are right now. And when tomorrow arrives, something will make sense that didn't make sense today. Something will reveal itself. A piece will fall into place. A path will become visible. But only if you honor the silence that's preparing you for it. Silence makes your enemies paranoid and your allies curious. There's a certain power that chosen ones carry when they decide to go quiet. And most people don't understand just how strategic that silence really is. The moment you stop explaining yourself, stop announcing your moves, stop responding to things that don't deserve your energy, something interesting happens. People start paying attention. They feel a shift before they can logically understand it. They notice your distance, your restraint, your lack of reaction, and they begin to wonder what changed. That wondering creates a ripple effect in the spiritual world. When a chosen one goes quiet, it unsettles the people who are benefiting from your openness. The ones who are monitoring your energy begin to get nervous because silence removes their access. They can't read you. They can't influence you. They can't predict you. Silence forces them to sit with their own thoughts. And that's something most people run from. Your quiet presence becomes louder than any explanation you could have given. On the flip side, the people who genuinely support you feel your silence in a completely different way. They don't interpret it as distance, they interpret it as growth. They sense that you're stepping into another level, and instead of panicking, they hold space for you. Silence separates your enemies from your allies without you lifting a finger. You don't have to argue, justify, or defend. The universe reveals who's who through your quiet. This is divine strategy. You're not disappearing, you're recalibrating, you're not avoiding people, you're elevating your frequency to a level where not everyone can reach you. And the beauty of silence is that it communicates something words never could. That you are no longer available for distractions, chaos, or people who drain your peace. Your silence is the announcement that you're not living at the same spiritual altitude anymore. Let people wonder. Let them speculate. Let them create their theories. Their confusion is confirmation that your shift is working. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your evolution. When your energy changes, the world around you adapts, and your silence becomes the catalyst that makes that transformation impossible to ignore. There's a pattern that repeats in the lives of chosen souls, and it shows up every time they're on the edge of something big. The universe pulls them into silence right before the breakthrough. It's almost like the spiritual equivalent of holding your breath before diving into a new world. And even though it feels uncomfortable, anticlimactic, or confusing, it has a purpose. The universe wants to know if you're ready, not externally, but internally. This 24-hour silence isn't random. It's a test of discipline, alignment, and self-trust. When you're quiet, you're forced to sit with yourself. You're forced to listen to your intuition without the interference of other people's opinions. You're forced to hold your power instead of leaking it through unnecessary conversations, reactions, or emotional impulses. The universe tests you here because the next phase requires a stronger version of you. Someone who can move in clarity, not noise. Every blessing requires a version of you that won't sabotage it. If the universe gave you everything you're asking for while you were still reacting to every trigger, defending every move, or explaining your intentions to people who will never understand, you would lose the blessing as fast as you received it. Silence builds the container that can hold what's coming. There's a reason every major turning point begins in stillness. Before the opportunity shows up, your spirit needs to anchor itself. Before the clarity arrives, your mind needs to quiet down. Before the door opens, your energy needs to be steady enough to walk through it without second-guessing. Silence is not emptiness, it's preparation. And the hopeful part is this: every time the universe demands your silence, something significant is already on the way. This isn't an ending, it's the charged moment right before the beginning. This is the final stretch before the blessing lands, the last check before the miracle forms, the quiet that only shows up when something is about to shift in your favor. The most powerful souls always vanish before the prophecy hits. There is an ancient rhythm to spiritual evolution that most people overlook because they're too focused on noise, movement, and outward action. But throughout history, in myth, legend, and spiritual tradition, the most gifted seers always had a moment where they stepped away from the world entirely right before something monumental unfolded. They didn't disappear because they were afraid. They disappeared because they understood that true revelation doesn't arrive in chaos. It arrives in stillness. Think about every ancient prophet, oracle, mystic, or visionary across cultures. Before their greatest vision came through, before their message reshaped people's lives, before the turning point arrived, they went quiet. They weren't out arguing. They weren't explaining their perspective. They weren't trying to convince anyone of anything. They retreated for a moment because they knew that silence is what sharpens the inner sight. Silence is what makes the message clear. Silence is what opens the channel for truth to come through without distortion. You're in that same pattern right now. This silence you're stepping into isn't random or inconvenient. It's the exact silence that powerful souls have mastered since the beginning of time. It's the space where your intuition gets louder, your awareness becomes sharper, and your spirit prepares for a shift that the people around you can't see yet. When a chosen one goes quiet, right before a breakthrough, it's not them withdrawing from life, it's them charging their power, it's them aligning with something bigger than the moment. It's them standing at the edge of a new timeline, waiting for the signal. There is always a hush before destiny speaks. And that's where you are right now. The quiet you're experiencing isn't a void, it's a prelude. It's the last calm breath before everything moves. You're not meant to fight right now, or explain yourself, or prove your worth. You're meant to listen. You're meant to hold your energy close. You're meant to treat this silence like the sacred tool that it is. This is your seer moment, your spiritual pause, before a shift that will make sense only when it arrives. And the more you honor this silence, the more prepared you'll be when the prophecy you've been sensing finally hits your reality. What you're facing right now isn't just about people, conversations, or situations that seem tense or confusing. There is a deeper layer to this moment, one that most people can't perceive because they focus only on the surface. The pressure you're feeling to speak, react, defend yourself, or explain your side isn't just coming from the physical world. It's coming from the spiritual battlefield, happening behind the scenes. And right now, silence is the way you avoid stepping into a trap that was designed to pull you backward. There are energies that want you reactive. There are patterns that want you triggered. There are old cycles that want one more chance to drain you. And often, the universe allows these tests to rise right before a breakthrough, not to punish you, but to show you how much power you've gained. The bait comes through familiar things, old wounds, unexpected texts, unnecessary arguments, someone trying to provoke you, or your own mind replaying past emotions. But that bait only works if you speak. If you stay quiet, it loses all control. Silence becomes your shield in this moment because it blocks every attempt to pull you into a timeline you've already outgrown. You're not running from conflict. You're refusing to participate in spiritual sabotage. You're not shutting down. You're choosing sovereignty over reactivity. You're not avoiding communication. You're protecting your energy from forces that would love to see you slip right before your elevation. Silence is what proves you've mastered yourself, not the world. And that's the real point of these 24 hours. The universe isn't just testing whether you can stay quiet, it's testing whether you can stay in control of your spirit when everything around you tries to pull you out of alignment. It wants to see if you can be still in the storm, steady in the pressure, and unmoved by old triggers that used to rule you. This silence is your ritual of self-mastery, the declaration that you're no longer someone who gets manipulated by impulse, emotion, or provocation. And when the next 24 hours pass, you won't just feel different. You'll be standing in a new level of energetic authority, one that could only be unlocked by choosing silence over reaction. There comes a point in your spiritual evolution where silence stops being a reaction and becomes a statement. Not a statement to the world, but a statement to yourself. When you reach that point, you finally understand that your voice is not something to be thrown into the air every time someone demands an explanation. It's not something to hand out to people who haven't earned the right to influence your direction. Silence becomes an act of inner loyalty, a vow that you will not betray your own intuition just to satisfy someone else's curiosity. Most people misunderstand silence. They think it means you're unsure, or you're intimidated, or you're retreating. But chosen ones know the truth. Silence means you've outgrown the need to be understood. It means you have entered a stage of spiritual maturity where you no longer need external confirmation to validate your inner knowing. You don't need to announce your growth for it to be real. You don't need to justify your decisions for them to be aligned. You don't need to clarify your motives for them to be pure. Silence is the proof that you trust the path even when you can't explain it. And that's exactly what's happening right now. You're trusting something you can feel, but can't fully articulate yet. You're trusting the shift in your spirit that tells you to hold your tongue. You're trusting that not every feeling needs an audience and not every change needs commentary. You're trusting yourself, maybe for the first time this deeply. This kind of silence is powerful because it shows you're no longer making choices based on fear. You're no longer rushing to defend yourself because you're afraid of being misunderstood. You're no longer spilling your plans because you're afraid they won't work unless someone approves them. You're no longer explaining your boundaries because you're afraid of disappointing people. All of that falls away the moment you decide your own clarity matters more than being liked, agreed with, or validated. The people around you may not recognize this growth immediately. Some might question it, misinterpret it, or project their own insecurities onto it. But your silence isn't for them. It's for you. It's a declaration that you're no longer guided by impulse or insecurity, you're guided by alignment. You're showing the universe that you're ready to make decisions from a place of strength rather than reaction, from intuition rather than fear, from purpose rather than pressure. When you stay quiet, you're giving your intuition room to breathe. You're letting your inner compass recalibrate without interruption. You're proving to yourself that you can sit with uncertainty without panicking, that you can hold your dignity without defending it, and that you can trust your future without needing constant reassurance. This is emotional sovereignty. This is spiritual discipline. This is self-trust in its highest form. Silence is the moment you choose yourself over every distraction trying to steal your focus. And right now, that choice is shaping your entire next chapter. You're building a version of you who doesn't crumble under pressure, who doesn't get pulled into nonsense, who doesn't need to announce their evolution to prove it's happening. You're building a version of you who moves with intention, who carries themselves with clarity, and who knows that some of the most powerful transformations happen when no one is watching. Your silence is not the absence of action, it's preparation for the right action. It's the universe watching you say, through your restraint, I trust myself enough not to rush. And when you reach that level of self-trust, you become unstoppable. If you honor this silence, the next 24 hours won't just pass, they will shift something in your reality. You're stepping into a window where the universe rearranges things quietly, without announcing itself, without dramatic signs or sudden shocks. It works through subtle movements that only reveal their meaning when the moment is right. And the beauty is that your silence isn't blocking that shift, it's allowing it. It's clearing the pathway so it can land without interference. When you refuse to speak too soon, you create a kind of spiritual vacuum, a clean, open space where answers and opportunities can find you instead of you chasing them. Most people talk themselves out of alignment because they try to force clarity when clarity isn't ready yet. But chosen ones who master silence experience something entirely different. Life begins to organize itself around them instead of them scrambling to control it. This silence is like stepping back so the universe can step forward. It's an invitation for solutions to appear naturally, without you having to explain, defend, or push anything. And when you offer that space, things begin to rise to the surface that you didn't even realize were setting themselves up for you. Something that once felt confusing suddenly becomes obvious. A situation that felt stuck begins to loosen. Conversations you thought you had to initiate end up coming to you without effort. There's also a powerful internal shift that happens during this quiet. Your intuition gets stronger, sharper, more precise. You start noticing things you would have missed if you were busy reacting or venting. A feeling of knowing begins to settle in your chest. Not forced, not imagined, but real. The kind that only arrives when you stop trying to control everything and begin allowing things to reveal themselves on their own timeline. Silence creates space, and space creates miracles. And these next 24 hours are going to reflect that truth back to you in ways you might not expect. Something might show itself through someone's unexpected honesty, or through an opportunity that suddenly feels aligned instead of confusing, or even through a calmness that settles over you for no logical reason, a peace that tells you you're finally synced with the path meant for you. The reward for holding back your words is not just external blessing, it's internal evolution. You begin to see how much power you actually have when you aren't giving pieces of yourself away through reactions and explanations. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.